Greetings, YouTube. I saw an article this week that had been written by former President Jimmy Carter. It discusses the fact that he's decided to leave the Southern Baptist Church. Mr. Carter has been a member of that church for 60 years. The reason he's leaving it is over the church's treatment of women, the fact that they do not consider women to be equal to men, and that women must be subservient to their husbands. This isn't a new policy for the Southern Baptist Church. But Mr. Carter finally just could no longer reconcile his own personal beliefs with the church's doctrine. Mr. Carter believes that all people, regardless of gender or sex, should be treated equally under the law, as does the UN and, in theory, the United States. The Southern Baptist Church, however, appears to have a less forward view of this issue. Now, some people have said that this is a little day late, dollar short kind of an issue because he had 60 years to do something about this, and he didn't. But he's raised in a very traditional culture. Spent 60 years as a member of a church. How many 85-year-olds do you know who are willing to make that kind of a decision, to sever a connection that is 6 decades old on a point of principle? I think Mr. Carter should be applauded, particularly because not only did he speak about it publicly, he wrote the article himself. It was in the Guardian UK paper. But it speaks to a wider issue, that doctrines of all organized religions have ramifications for not only their members, but for everyone around them, because they can help to establish quote-unquote societal norms, when in actuality they are not norms in the least. People often say about America that we are a Christian country, except we're not. We're not founded on the Christian faith. Many of the founding fathers that did write the doctrines that became the very foundation of our nation were in fact deists, people that worshipped a God, but not Christ, people who thought that through science and philosophy you would come to understand God on a personal level. They didn't much believe in organized religion, and I can appreciate that. But it's been my experience that the more organized you have, the more power structure you create, the more doctrine gets written, and then the more dogma that follows. Because every single bit of organized religion is populated by humans, and humans crave power. It takes a very, very different kind of a person to say, no, I don't want to be in charge of someone else. I don't want to be the person making the decisions for other people. And once you've established doctrine, once you've gotten used to the idea that people will listen to your words, it isn't difficult to start imposing your personal worldview on them, because you know they're going to listen to you. You know they're going to follow what you say. And you end up with things like the Southern Baptist Church telling people that women are inferior to men. I'm of the opinion that anyone who holds that view of the world, maybe they're the one that's inferior. Maybe they have issues that they're not willing to deal with, the things they haven't resolved, personal fears, which in my view of the universe is the foundation for all problems between people. Fear. I don't know what they're afraid of. Afraid of losing their manhood, afraid of having their position of power usurped by someone of a different gender, or just in general losing a little of that terrestrial might. But I applaud Mr. Carter. I've had many reasons in the past to respect him. I liked him as a president, even though I was young. I was sad to see him lose the election. And his post-presidential work has been wonderful. He's done some truly great things. And this step right here that he made, publicly speaking out about breaking his connection to the Southern Baptist Church, is an act of bravery. And it's raised my respect for him even further. I hope, and it's a vain hope, I realize, that the Southern Baptist Church will listen to this. We'll sit back and ponder, maybe, if a man like this has decided to leave our church, maybe we're doing something wrong. Maybe we should look at our doctrine and decide that people should be treated equally in our faith as well as under the law.